I brought my new partner with me. I'm dating my paintings now. Because really, today as we talk about prayer, if you're an artist in here, you know that when you are painting, it's a form of prayer. When you are expressing in a creative way, when you're singing, it's a prayer. Really, when you're doing anything, it's a prayer. So I wanted to share her because the beautiful and amazing Reverend Renee, which I hear it's going really well here, everyone. If you remember, I was here the weekend before she was coming. So I cleared the way energetically, right? I was like, here she comes, right? And it's been amazing. I got to have a Zoom call with her before coming here, and she invited me to use the Lenten booklet from Unity. And I'm like, well, I'm a nice Jewish girl, and we didn't do the Lent thing growing up, but I imagine that many of you in here come from a Christian background where you know Lent to be sort of about cookies and giving up sugar or something, right? So in New Thought, though, we look at everything as metaphysical. So I'm always really excited to dive in to Jesus' journey because he was a nice Jewish boy. And he was fasting, and the Last Supper was, of course, a Passover Seder. So I feel very qualified as a Jew to be talking to you about Lent, and I'm also excited to be here. So thank you. Thank you to the band. Thank you to my hostess. Thank you to Elisa and my angel Mary, and Ardell, and everybody who's welcomed me here. I'm just so excited. Oh yeah, I just thought I'd keep it simple. Pray. It's a directive. It's what we do. Pray, pray, pray. I wanted to start with just a line from Ernest Holmes, who's the founder of religious science. He said, you are immersed, just feel that, in and saturated with the vital essence of life. That is what we are. We are life itself expressing. So how wonderful is that? And my teachers, I've had many teachers, but one of my favorite teachers teaches with acronyms. And a good acronym to start with for Lent is, let's eliminate negative thinking. We're excavating, we're clearing out. You can feel that spring energy, right? Things are moving, things are shifting, things are changing. There is an energy of release and letting go. So I have created an acronym for pray for us, for you to take with you today to how do I pray? How do I get into it? Here is sort of a way to guide you. So the first one is pause, and I kind of want to choreograph this because I love choreo. So show me your prayer like this. So this is pause. Pause. Everybody say pause. Pause. And then we're going to say release. Release. So in my beautiful painting here, she has her hands open, right? It's letting go. So pause, release. Affirm, that's grounding, right? Affirm. And then yield, like almost making a Y, yield. And I'm going to talk about all those things. But sometimes when you have something that associates with the word, you'd be like, oh, what was that? That was pause, right? That was pause. And so when you're in line and when you're frustrated in traffic or when you're going through something scary this week, pause, release, affirm. We stand our ground, right? We're not pushed over. And yield. Oh, I love it. You can do a little jazz hands, right? So I'm going to start with this idea of pause, which I had the honor of singing at a celebration of life last weekend for a woman named Lady Gloria Free. And she was a black woman in Asheville, North Carolina, who... It's a very segregated city, and she started the first African festival there. She was incredible. She was a high school teacher for many, many years, and at her celebration of life, person after person after person got up to say what an amazing energy that she was. And she used to call me, I sing at her church, she used to call me Wonder Woman. And I thought I was the only one. Well, everyone was called Wonder Woman. And she also used to look at me and say, "You're cosmic. You are cosmic." So I want you to carry that on. But the reason I'm bringing her up is because when her daughter, who's a prayer practitioner, got up to give her talk at the Celebration of Life, she took a really long pause. And she stood there. And she said, "My mom taught me to stand and take my space and take a pause." So as we talk about prayer, I bring in the energy of Lady Gloria Free to remind you that you can stand in your power and you can pause. And that sacred pause, that sacred holy time out is what prepares you for receiving the good that is yours to get, yes? So we got to talk about Jesus. So this Lenten booklet is really cool because it's going through the journey of and it's like almost sentence by sentence. And my sentence this week is Jesus went to the garden, fell to his knees and prayed. So that's my sentence. That's what we're working with today. Went to the garden, fell to his knees in prayer. Now, as kind of a nerdy New Thought person, I love to research all the different translations of the different accounts of this. And actually, the most common translation is, Jesus fell on his face in prayer. Now, that could mean like almost like a Muslim type of prayer, right? So you're falling on your face like that. Now think about what's happening here. He knows what's coming. He knows this is going to be the moment. This is the hardest time of his life. I think he literally fell on his face in prayer, which I've only personally had that happen one time in my life. And I invite you to search your memory to remember the time that you literally lost control of your knees and fell on the ground in prayer, fell on your face in prayer. For me, it was losing my father suddenly. We did not expect it. He was a young man. He was only 67. I was a daddy's girl. And so when he passed, I fell to my knees in prayer. So I think that's sort of the energy that we're talking about today. This, I can't believe it. I don't know what to do. So the first quote that I have for you is from Charles Fillmore, which he said, "We increase whatever we praise. The whole creation responds to praise and is glad." So why are we praising and being glad in this moment of collapse? Well, because we're praising the moment. The moment is all there is. This holy now is all there is. So when we pause, we are giving energy to the moment. We are giving attention to what is. We are not turning away from whatever comes up. I hear Reverend Renee talking about that, talking about how we must experience the grief. We must experience the sadness because we're spiritual beings having a human experience. Amen? Amen. Now, this being here, right here, I like to think of this being as my partner, but also as being non-binary, because I feel that spirit, of course, is not gendered, but also the idea that she is, or they, sorry, I misgendered my own painting, they have their hands open because they are the receptive, divine, feminine energy, which is, I think, what I am called to paint. My paintings that are out there today, that if you want to come to my table, I can tell you a little bit more about them. I have the divine feminine resting. I had a nice conversation with, who was it that we talked about my painting of divine rest, and she told me that she has been resting. Where are you? Raise your hand, person that I talked to about the painting. You don't remember, it's okay. We talked about the one that's sleeping, there's an owl on her shoulder, and that owl represents that divine wisdom that's there even when we are resting. The pause is the rest. You must rest right now. There is so much work to be done in the world, right? especially as new thought practitioners, which you all are. Ernest Holmes said that if you know about positive affirmative prayer, you're automatically a practitioner. You are the power, the presence, the life, and the light of God, and you are here to shift the consciousness into that space of remembering who you truly are, which is love. Can I hear an amen? So that's that pause. So let's take a deep breath and really feel a good, strong pause. And let it out. We move on to release. What am I holding on to that no longer serves? Now is the season. Here we go. Spring cleaning. Charles Fillmore called it clearing out the cobwebs of our mind. Have you ever had cobwebs in your house? They're so weird. And you have to sometimes if you have very high ceilings, you got to get a weird long stick out and, clearing out the cobwebs of our mind. That's what we're doing here. Charles Fillmore says, a healthy state of mind is attained when the thinker willingly lets go of the new thought and old thought and takes on the new. Willingly, I think, is the operative word in that sentence. You got to let go of those old thoughts. So for the Lent acronym that my friend Reverend Dale Worley down in Unity Savannah created is not just let's eliminate negative thinking, but let's embrace new thought. That's what Lent is right now. So throughout each week in the booklet, there are these 6 or 7 readings that are all about the things to release. And every day there's a thing to release, right? So I picked the 6 things that were right before this reading for us to sort of dive into and think about what we want to release. So what we have here is confusion. Anybody get confused sometimes? What am I doing? Where am I going? Who am I? What's my life purpose? What's the next step for me to take? The good news is nobody knows. Nobody knows. It's up to you. Overindulgence. Bueller? Anybody? My drug of choice is more. Okay? I love to indulge. I love to feel good. You got cookies, you got doom scrolling, you got, I'm a sugar junkie. I'm 8 days off sugar, and I feel like an entirely different human when I'm not eating sugar. It's like I become a monster when I start eating sugar. Sugar monster. Blame. Anybody big blamers? Such a low vibe. Pointing fingers, they say, you point one out, 3 are pointing back at yourself. Whatever you judge, you become. I definitely learned that a long time ago. Discouragement. I do like a lot of discouragement. I like discouragement and self-pity. Those are 2 also drugs of choice of mine. I don't want to. Hostility. Who here? Where are my hostile folks? Where are my bitter, angry folks? Yeah. Man, that's interesting, right? Because that's like a veneer, right? Because that's not even real. Hostility. When people are hostile, you immediately know that either they were hurt or they're afraid. Something scary is going on. And then doubt. Doubt is I imagine what Jesus was feeling. Is this really what we're doing, God? Is this really what we're doing, God? And remember, in New Thought, it's nothing outside of Jesus. I and the Father are one. So when we're doubting ourselves. We are doubting that power that lives within us. When you find yourself doubting, I want you to turn it over into, I am the child of God. I've got this. Say that with me. I've got this. When I talk about release, and I gotta talk a little bit about this painting, because Reverend Renee told me that I was going to speak about being in the garden and when Jesus was on his knees. And I thought, I am going to paint a glorious painting of a feminine leaning energy in a garden of incredible blooms. And I have to tell you, to make her face look like an actual face, it took, 5 hours. And at some point, I'm making her face. Who are my painters at? Who know how to, anybody? Portrait painters or you can work it only so much. And then you got to either take a pause, walk away from it, or you got to start to remove some paint. You got to take away a couple layers. And so this, as I was painting this and thinking about the talk, it was so cool because I was like, what a great metaphor painting is for this journey of prayer, because you just have to surrender. You have to go, well, I didn't think she was going to look like that, but she's talking to me. Not literally, don't check me in anywhere. But I love this idea that Michelangelo said about the sculpture of David. I'm sure you've heard it many, many times. This idea that there was this block of marble. People asked, how did you make David? How did you make that sculpture? And Michelangelo said, I just chipped away at what wasn't David. Hi, David. David is, I flirt with David when I'm here. It's a thing. So Lent is really about that chipping away, that clearing the cobwebs of our mind. Yes. So we move to the A, which is affirm. Affirm. Planting those new seeds. What's so interesting about weeds is that if you pull them out and you don't plant something new, you get the weeds again. You're getting the weeds again. So all that stuff we just talked about, let's create some affirmations for what we just kind of thought about and pulled out. So let's affirm these. I'm going to say it and I want you to repeat after me. In fact, I invite you to close your eyes for this moment. Even though there is a slide if somebody doesn't want to close their eyes. I'm never going to pressure you to do anything. We don't pressure people in New Thought. We allow you to be your own, have dominion over your eyeballs. When I am confused, I affirm clarity. Instead of overindulgence, I affirm balance. When I find myself blaming, I affirm forgiveness. For others and myself. When I'm feeling discouraged, I affirm divine timing. When I'm feeling hostility, I affirm peace. And finally, and most importantly, I think, when I am feeling doubt, I affirm faith. I invite you now to open your eyes, and if you want to take a screenshot or a picture of this, you can start practicing this. Also, the pray, release, affirm. You can be pray, release, affirm. Hey! What? You're trying to try me? You can't try me, 'cause I got spirit. Yes, I do. Can you tell that I wanted to be a cheerleader? Oh my gosh, I really did. I really, really did. And I remember I didn't even get a call back because I couldn't do my splits. Okay. Affirmations are the sunlight that our soul needs, the sunlight that's coming down on her. As Charles Fillmore said, faith is the perceiving power of the mind linked with the power to shape substance. So we are literally shaping the world with our consciousness. And when I read that in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, the word garden, I'm not sure if Reverend Renee already talked about this, but the word garden in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary is the substance of the soul, the garden. So when you think about like the Garden of Eden or, the Garden of Gethsemane, all this is the substance of soul. That's the substance of my soul. Yes? Colorful, bright, variety, infinite, right? But when I saw the word substance, I could not help but think of that movie that just came out. Who here saw the movie, The Substance? Anybody? Okay. So A warning, big, big warning. If you watch that movie, it is gross. but it is brilliant. Demi Moore kind of made her comeback with this movie, and she won almost every award. She didn't win the Academy Award, but she won almost every award for this part that she played, which the reason I'm bringing this up is because that story is the story. I'll just give you a nutshell. I won't ruin the movie for you, other than to tell you that it's gross. But it is brilliant. Every single shot is a piece of art. And if you didn't see it in the theater, I'm so sorry. I hope they bring it back to the theater, and if they do, go see it. It is pure art. If you are a person that loves movies, you might remember what it felt like the first time you saw a Quentin Tarantino movie. I mean, it's dark stuff, but it's another level of filmmaking. That's what The Substance was for me. But again, this story is of this woman who takes this substance to keep her young. And it's the unraveling that happens from that. When we don't release, we become a monster. So let's affirm together, I am clear. I am balanced. I forgive. I am hopeful. I am peaceful. I am faithful. We've got to trust the divine process. I am so excited because I'm starting to have hot flashes. My glasses are fogging up. That was a joke. I'm not excited, but I am peaceful. I am faithful. I am affirming that I am coming into my crone years. Let the sweat come down, baby. I've really got to talk about, I'll get there. Yield. I love this word yield, and why I picked it was because it has a dual meaning. So you have the yield, like yield to oncoming traffic, like get out of the way, or watch, be wary, and then you have yield like the crops, right? You yield your harvest. It means two things. So we can think of this time of clearing and cleaning out our consciousness as making space for that big yield that's going to come. From fast to feast, if you will. From allowing the space in the grounds of our mind to plant new things that are going to bloom like crazy. This is going to be a good year. I promise you, I know things look crazy. But they always look crazy. Go back in time. You know, when the election happened, I was personally heartbroken, and I cannot speak politically up here, and I won't. But I remember I was very upset, and I went to this store that I go to regularly that's owned by a woman of color, and I said to her, "Are you okay?" Which was presumptive, that it was so wrong and racist probably of me. But I said, "Are you okay?" Because there was a somber energy. And she said, "Oh, we've been through worse." And I said, "Oh, yeah, like the Bush years." And she said, "Like slavery." Okay? And I was humbled so beautifully in that moment to remember the resilience of the human spirit. Come on. And you are on the cutting edge. You are on the edge. You are the new thought people. You are the ones that are holding the light, that are saying inclusivity, that are saying we are love. Love is love. Call it political if you want. Gotta let go of the old. Make space for the new. Marianne Williamson, our beautiful Marianne, who talk about politics. I mean, I went to see her speak in LA, and she was up there at a spiritual event talking about that it is, if it's not us, it's who is it? Who is it? Who's going to do anything if it's not us? Sorry to be yelling. My goodness, this is the quietness day. I am here to provide contrast. So can we let go of the old? Can we surrender to love, to that loving presence? I watched a talk of Reverend Renee's from February, from the month of love. She was just in love. She was loving y'all up, reminding you that love is what this is about. I'm going going to knock something over now. Look, I'm going to have a sip of water. I'm going to breathe. Pause. Take you in, drink you in. This process of Lent, it's not about punishment, and it's not about deprivation. It's about transformation. Yesterday, I was thinking about that wonderful metaphor of the butterfly, right? So the caterpillar becomes the butterfly. And I didn't know until New Thought, till 15 ministers gave the talk about the butterflies, that there's the goo state, right? Who here doesn't know about the goo state? Anybody? So there's okay, so I'll tell. But between the caterpillar and the butterfly, it literally deconstructs into a pile of goo. Okay? And then it has what's called imaginal cells that create the beautiful butterfly that we see. So in our lives, when we're in this place of falling to our knees, what is there to do but become the goo? I'm sorry. I was driving here, and I was like, what is there to do but become the goo? What is there to do but become the goo? And the moment you go, you know what? I'm the goo. I'm the goo. I don't know what's coming. But guess what? It's going to be amazing. And transformation is always growing something more, growing something. There's an evolutionary experience happening before our very eyes. So I'll close with some really super nerdy stuff, which is that first of all, I always thought it was Gethsemane. I didn't know there was the Geth that you said Gethsemane. Gethsemane. Can you say Gethsemane for me? Gethsemane. It's very hard to say. It's like if you say it 3 times fast, it is a tongue twister. Gethsemane, Gethsemane, Gethsemane. So I thought it was, anyway, Jewish. I'm always so interested when something happens at a specific place on the planet. What's the history of that place on the planet? So I went to look at the history of Gethsemane, where Jesus fell to his knees or fell on his face in prayer before the crucifixion and the resurrection. Well, how interesting is this? A church was built there in the 4th century when Constantine's Holy Roman Empire was in full force. That structure was destroyed by an earthquake in the 8th century. It was earth-shattering. Matthew records an earthquake at Jesus' death that ripped the veil from the temple and brought the dead to life. The second structure was built during the Crusades, sometime between 1096 and 1291. That was abandoned during the First World War, 1345. Is that the First World War around there? And then the current, I don't know. Something was happening in the 1300s. Yeah, that's not the First World War. It was abandoned. The current building was built maybe during the First World War in 1919, 1924. Now, what's so interesting about this is that the church that still stands, guess what it's called? The Church of All Nations. Now, you know the consciousness of love is going to let that church stand. Of all nations. But what this story of the many structures on that land and this idea that this is where, and the Eastern Orthodox actually, folks, believe that Mary was buried there. That's not, I guess, widely known, or some things, we don't even know if Jesus actually, anyway. Google it. I'm trying my, Rosanna Dana hair. Is it working? Okay. You can tell who is from my generation and who is like, what? That's a Gilda Radner reference for those who don't know. So, I don't know where I'm doing on time, but this history of this land is really the story of resilience and the rebuilding. And in our lives, how often are we rebuilding? After we lose a loved one, we're rebuilding. After we lose a job, we're rebuilding. After we lose weight, we're rebuilding. It can be good, bad, or ugly. Since So I'm inviting us all to walk through this season with open hearts, trusting and remembering that even in these dark moments, there is a divine love at work. Yes? And the pressure, the oil, I know she talked about this, the oil, Gethsemane means oil press. That's what it means. And when you press olives, olive oil comes out. Just like when you crush coal, it becomes a diamond. So the pressure is what makes the oil. And olive oil, if you don't know, has so many benefits. So of course it's on olive tree land that this happened. I mean, it helps your heart health. It helps so many things. So I'm going to close this talk with a quote from Ernest Holmes that I started with, the whole quote though. Since the only life you can have is the life of spirit within you, you need but permit its radiance to flow through your thought into self-expression. You are surrounded by a dynamic force, a great surge of living power. You are immersed in and saturated with this vital essence of life. Its presence permeates everything, binding all together in one complete whole. That's from Ernest Holmes. So I invite you to pray your way through the season of your life. And now I'm going to take you into a meditation. I invite you to just take a moment to breathe, focus on your breath. And release any tension that you're holding in your shoulders, in your jaw, in your mind. And just imagine that you are a beautiful garden. And imagine what flowers live in your heart. Think on the sunlight of spirit nourishing you, filling you with life, reminding you that you are indeed life, immersed in the glory of good. Just breathing here, settling into the bloom of you, ready to let go of everything that no longer serves, falling on our knees in surrender, saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Spirit, for this life, for this opportunity to lead the way to peace. And I start with myself. I'm going to invite us just to sit in some silence. The power of God is you. It is life. Take one more deep breath, releasing even more. And gently open your eyes and look around and notice the blooms in this room. The beautiful bloom. Decide what flower you see when you see someone. I see a rose. Sun shines through my window on an autumn afternoon. leaves falling down as the wind blows. Letting go, letting go, letting go. Sing that with me, letting go. Letting go, letting go, letting go. I'm ready to start over. My heart can't take no more. I see myself, but don't know her. Letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go. I'm on a spiral mountain, moving to the place where I can't see the truth of me. Gotta hold my breath and take that leap, so I could be free, so I could be free. On a midnight highway, headed to the sunrise, riding with my head high. I'm taking it slow, because I know I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to let go. I'm looking to tomorrow. I'm looking ahead, but I'm staying right here in the day. Gotta be here now, surrendering my sorrow. Letting go, letting go, letting go. Sing it with me. Letting go, letting go, letting go. Come on. On a spiral mountain, moving to the place where I can't see the truth of me. Gotta hold my breath and take that leap, so I could be free, I could be free. On a midnight highway, headed to the sunrise, riding with my head high. I'm taking it slow, because I know I'm ready to grow. Are you ready to grow? I'm ready to grow. You don't have a choice. I'm ready to grow. Break it down. I'm on a spiral mountain, moving to the place where I can see the truth of me. Gotta hold my breath, take that leap. On a midnight highway, headed to the sunrise, riding with my head high. I'm taking it slow, because I know. I'm taking it slow, because I know. I'm taking it slow, because I know. I'm ready to let go. Give it up for the amazing Nick. I'd like to hear from each of our musicians today. You want to hear from your musicians a little bit? Hey David, hey cutie. Tell us something on the bass. This is for your root chakra. Give it up for David on the bass, y'all. And you know this amazing Vince on the drums. What a genius. What a genius. Take it away, take it away, take it away. My face. Incredible musicians. I'm on a spiral mountain, moving to the place where I can see the truth of me. Gotta hold my breath, take that leap,
so I could be free. Midnight highway, headed to the sunrise, riding with my head high. I'm taking it slow because I know. I'm taking it slow because I know. Slow because I know. I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to let go, ready to let go, ready to let go. I'm ready to let go, ready to let go, ready to let go. I'm ready to let go, ready to let go, ready to let go. I'm ready to let go, ready to let go, ready to let go. Yeah, sing that with me. I'm ready to let go, ready to let go, ready to let go. One last time. I'm ready to let go, ready to let go, ready to let go. Thank you so much.